Evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Different backdrop tonight. I'm mixing it up again. You did see this backdrop. Those long-time followers on here will well remember this was actually the very first place I started out doing question time episodes. How crazy is that? Albeit with slightly different kit, and yeah, me being absolutely scared to death by the looks of it as well. Crazy stuff. So yes, I hope you're all well. Now, you may well notice I haven't, or I've chosen not to add the usual titles and bits and bobs to tonight's episode, because I think I've touched upon this last week, but I want to build some more flexibility into the lives. I want to do more. Since I changed it over to Wednesday night live, it has become so rigid. It actually makes it difficult, given my schedule at times as well, to keep up with it. And then all of a sudden, if we have a week where I really can't make it, it's gone. And obviously parts of it, that when we built that concept out with the auctions and all the rest of it, it's just been quite difficult to sustain, in all honesty. So I think the big bit of live, as I've seen, is getting on here, just having a chat, answering some questions, doing all that back to where it was. Not necessarily going to say it's question time again either. Who knows? I just like getting on the live and seeing who's around and what we can do and all the rest of it. So yeah, I'm a bit undecided what to stick on it all, really, and when we'll be doing it and all the rest. So I think for now we'll leave it as a blank and see where we get. I do plan on maintaining a fixed slot so people know generally when something's coming. But like I say, I think the aim really is to get more of it going. And you see, when you see what I've got coming up, the live streaming is going to be more so, and it's, yeah, let's wait and see. So there we go. Feel free to fire in any questions. I am up at HQ at the moment now that we've got the fabulous internet. Absolutely loving that. The only thing I ain't got up here is all the cameras and bits of kit, and them lights are a bit harsh, I must say. But other than that, it's been a steady-ish day. I got a journal video filmed yesterday. Not actually been here most of today, been out with the wife. But yeah, just come up to check on things. I was here early this morning as well. But yesterday was a busy day sorting out, getting new fish sorted. Tomorrow on the Koi Online group, I'm going to be having a sale with some Coda fish I've selected that are absolutely gorgeous. Honestly, brilliant. And we're going to be doing them in batches, I think. So that's going to be the planks. We did that with some Sakamaki Tosai that I had, kind of fixed price on a bowl for X amount of pieces with different selection. Some with multiple varieties, some was all one variety. Quite cool. And I think these are going to be a good batch for it. So it'll be around 6 o'clock tomorrow. I think we're going to have a go at that and see where we get. So I was going to say there's a link in the description, but there isn't. If you go on one of the older videos on the channel, there is a link in the description if you're not in that group, because, yeah, amazing community as well. We actually had Malk. He's a regular in there. Absolute. I think he's only seconded by me in regards to his buying addiction. But actually, a guy, we had an offer out on a piece the other day, but it's one I wanted collected to get the price ASAP, and Malk knew he was passing by and offered to actually pick it up, as he has done about half an hour ago, to take it up to the guy where he's en route to. It was absolutely amazing to see that one. So yeah, fantastic, loving it. All you guys all contribute towards that every week. I think just the good vibes are superb, and I love it. I find it very inspiring. So long may it continue. Other than that, guys, feel free to fire in some questions to get us going. Let's say I think lack of prep again on this one, and yeah, the lack of the title in mind might have caught people out a little bit. But fish are all looking good here. Temperatures are just about. I had a couple hitting 32 degrees in the smaller greenhouse actually yesterday, but luckily it was the smaller. I say smaller towsai. It was towsai. They're very, very active. They're coping with it, and I've not had to actually reduce. Nothing went off the food during all this heat wave, so I've done quite well in that respect. I was getting quite worried about it, but we're all good. And yeah, finally, actually, really organised. I'm super happy with where all the ponds are at. They're now as they are in the two main greenhouses, so everything's set out for its summer in the batches. So now it's just going to be a case of the likes of the golden corn pond that I've done one video on, I think, already for the channel. That needs thinning out, and that'll be the process now with them ponds through to whenever, I call it finished. But it could be October, December, it could be early next year. We'll see. Outside is proving to be different this year because I've got everything heated now. Quite cool. So we've got the Sakamaki grow out fish in one of them ponds outside, which is really cool. They're being fed on the feeder now. I've got that temperature controlled. All that bit is absolutely fantastic. So that's giving me more options. So as I clear down ponds, if I don't need them for bringing fish out of the greenhouses, as we're splitting a batch up, I can then use it to start separating fish out even more, which will allow me then to use them more as raising ponds. Because of the systems I have on them at the moment, I can't use them in that way. The trickle towers I've got and mechanically and biologically, will soon start falling apart if I hit it too hard with the food at a high stocking level. So to manage that, I'm going to bring that stocking level right down or start changing the systems, which is something I'm looking into. I've actually got the first system I'm going to try out here to wait and see if it could be the solution. Let's say I'm really hoping it is. So time will tell on that one. Yeah, other than that, not got too much. Look at me, you see my calendar there, look. Isn't that a beast, eh? NND Tamasaba front facing, that's an absolute beast, that one. And right there, which way do I need to go? My tank, look. Got a few new bits at the weekend for that one. Nice, I can't remember L number actually. Nice sunshine pleck in there, looks absolutely stunning. And it's not actually cave dwelling too much. It was out on the wood earlier and keeps showing its face. But it can't be said. Same can't be said for me Galaxius that's in there hiding, pissing thing. But really enjoying that. It's nice actually from my side of it. Not that I don't enjoy this. Please don't mistake this. I absolutely love being around my fish farm and dealing with all that stuff. But I've never really done koi keeping as a hobby. And it might seem a bit of a messed up thing to say, but genuinely, it's what it is. I've always been into it from as much as I love it, and I absolutely do, as you guys know. It's always been the commercial sense around it. My head's been wired as koi dealer, now kind of koi farming, moving into koi breeding. Not necessarily just as a hobbyist. I suppose you might say I do enjoy it in ways like that when there's fish that I'm keeping and not doing, but this really is that with the tanks, and it's been nice. Even just enjoying that moment of going to the shop, the fish shop. So I went to Wharf Aquatics at the weekend, and that whole thing of going, seeing what's in there, that whole element of it all is just nice, browsing around the products, all the rest of it. Quite an hard one to explain. I think you guys might get it more than I do. But obviously there's no pressures with it. That might be the biggest difference, because in amongst all this, you can't forget, obviously I've got a business to run, and as much as I've tried to build myself out from the day-to-day monotonies that become a bit of a grind, that aren't really where I want to be at, they are still there. The pressures are still there a lot of the time. So yeah, I suppose it's a bit different in that respect, but nice to be enjoying it, and enjoying it with AJ as well, because he is absolutely obsessed with 3 tanks in bedroom and currently setting up 8 in the garage. with space for 4 more as well when he manages to blackmail somebody into buying them, albeit me or Grandad, more than likely. So quality. Right, let's have a look at. Sorry, folks. Don't know what happened then. I think I accidentally must have caught something I shouldn't have caught. Anyway, I'm here. Panic over. Yes, let's have a look. Try not to do that again where I've just done. See who's here and see what questions we've got. Kelvin Groom, hi. I've just been told all my koi in my pond is from you. Fantastic. Is that a new pond, Kelvin? Is you've taken over there, mate? Just a bit more background to that would be nice, but sounds good. Mickey, how we doing, buddy? Good evening. Your recent video, amazing to watch, but with KB and Fujo, what were they telling you to look for in the selection? Can't wait for your next visit. Mickey, come on. I can't give it all away, pal, can I? It was quite interesting with it. I think probably the biggest bit I can share of selection is more of a mentality, and it's probably one that I share here with a lot of fish. And I think the overall impression that people form of selection is that it's dead nailed on to that's a good one, that's a bad one. Now there was elements, especially with those shower, of yes, that one looks very promising right now, but there was also, and this is why that kind of level of strictness became a big thing, because there was also an element of, well, that fish there, so you once you picked all those certainties out, there were them fish, and this is where I saw the difference come in between the two of them, that Fujo wasn't necessarily keeping, but KB was keeping purely because he knew there was a chance that they looked more like sheer up, sorry. There was a chance the Benny can come out still because they're so young. And his kind of justification for it made sense. And it's kind of like, well, why throw it away now? We're selecting again in 2 or 3 weeks. If there's no change, we can get rid of it then. So that really made sense. But then there's a level below this, and if they were being less strict, there's fish that might have made it through. And then not forgetting in it all, the Heatwave saga again. And it was Fujo that first shocked me with this back on my first work experience trip, when he had literally put a Heatwave in front of me back then. This was nearly 20 years ago. 20 years ago? Yes, nearly 20. Jesus Christ. Put it in front of me and went, Ricky, this is a really good Heatwave, but I'm a shower breeder. And bang, that was the end of that one. Just mad. And even this time again, I'm looking at Heatwave now. To NND, it's like, well, we don't really get a good price for Heatwave, so we're not going to waste our time. It's in essence a waste product, but they don't understand, they're so popular in the UK market, in Europe in general, and from the better quality breeders, they become even more exciting as a prospect as well. So yeah, it's fluid, but it's not as rigid as what you would expect it to be, because it's not certain. The main real focus is it's about not throwing anything valuable away. That's the real thing you're trying to protect against. And yes, there was standout fish, as you saw in the video, but by the next selection after that, it might just become nothing. It's really, really difficult. So, but I think I can't remember if it's that video or the next one, the last one that's got to come out, where I did just kind of mention that at one point in that I wasn't sharing too much in depth on the selections because it wasn't 100% sitting right. I felt they're entrusting this generational information to me, so willing to pass it down. And Japanese aren't just generally always that open. So I think to go broadcasting it all over YouTube didn't feel particularly respectful to that privilege of that situation I was in, and that's just where I was at and what I was feeling with that one, to be honest with you. I think and pretty much the comment I made, I don't know if it was that, is I share a hell of a lot, pretty much everything with you guys, but I think there's just little times and moments when especially given the situation there, like I say, it didn't just sit right. But I hope from that you can take away the general concept that I think there's just an idea that people who aren't used to that selection think they can spot a grand champion when they're 3cm. It's just not that. Yes, there's standout ones. There's certainly no guarantees with them, but the real thing about it is just making sure you don't throw anything away. The Kohaku selection the next, or a couple of days later, really demonstrated that, because there was a lot higher percentage of fish kept, purely because we can see a bit of something, but we can't see enough. So we know there's pattern there, but you can't really see what pattern. You know it's not got a full red head, which is super undesirable. And little bits like that, where it's like, right, keep it to next time. We need to get the fish a bit bigger in order to see it. And this is where they obviously massively benefit in the amount of selections. Bearing in mind that at a quality farm, those Showa and Kohaku I did with NND will likely go through, Kohaku-wise, probably 4 selections before they get to the actual harvest by September. Very heavily farmed, and the numbers just plummet every time. And that is where the costs of Japanese and quality koi really comes into it. Will there have been fish in there? Could they have kept higher numbers? Yes, that's where kind of lesser brand breeders will come into it at that point, because they will, but their farms are set differently, and the mindset more than anything is completely different as well. Ian, thanks, Maticano. Sankey I received this morning. I'm well happy with it. Time to get it growing more. Yes, mate. They are phenomenal, this year's batch. Long may that parent is using continue, and hopefully that's been the same with them this year. If it has, whatever toast I get my hands on in October, I am keeping them stashed, let me tell you. Craig spoke to Susan on the phone recently. Very helpful and friendly and polite. Have a great team. Agreed, Craig, and thank you very much for that feedback. We genuinely, since I kind of made this change, we've just been discussing it actually in the office before I come on air. It's like, in essence, from that respect of going into selling to you guys directly, we are in essence a startup, and believe me, we've shifted pretty much everything into this direction. But we're experienced. We've got the systems. We know we put the systems together quickly, but we are dealing with them volumes that have stressed those systems very quickly and put us in a situation where we've had to adapt very quickly as well. And just exposed, probably we've not got enough capacity in the team. Getting more people in is a slow process, because as well, it is a good team. So you're also balancing not wanting to rock the boat too much with all that. There really is layers to it, but we're loving every moment. I think, even when we fucked up, we're the first people to hold our hands up and rectify stuff as quickly as we can. And just making sure that you guys are happy with whatever we do. That's the first thing on our mind when it comes to it. And yes, there'll probably be, a few people out there pissed off. You just get the odd one where it just goes a bit nuts. But in the grand scheme of things and the volumes, I mean, as we've looked and analysed, it is nuts. But we've dealt with over 400 people individually since the middle of October when we changed this. I mean, you just scale it up and think of the numbers and the fish and the amount of different events and auctions and all of it going on. It's mad. So yeah, hats off to the guys, because I see it at times. It's looked like it's been weighing heavy on people as well. And that's when I really had to kind of dig in and just hopefully steer that morale. But yeah, everybody's on board. Everybody's on board with doing things in that way. And long may it continue. Now it's just a case of, finding the right people moving forwards. And then on top of all that, finally getting to roll out more pieces of the vision in my head of what this was going to be. Because this really is this is the get it started version certainly from a Koi Online perspective as well. Get it started, get it going. But it's even, coupled by that, like I say, I mentioned at the beginning, the community around it is really just remarkable. And I do draw a lot of inspiration from it because it's just amazing to see. Anybody who's keeping koi, I believe, is privileged, lucky. It should be enjoyable. There's no reason for animosity or bullshit when people get together. There's really not egos, any of it. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy it for what it is. And it's nice to actually see that come together in the WhatsApp group, people respecting the rules, the boundaries, other people in the Telegram group, how everybody's chipped in to give good advice and keep the vibes nice, friendly. It's all I ever wanted. And to see it there and actually happening at the scale it is remarkable. And I'm grateful to it. And I know, like I say, the team do love it. You kind of have to be in that way and enjoying it. And I make sure I keep them as happy as I can. But it is nice to hear it, Craig. It really is, pal, because it means a lot. Even Ricky, is there any way of reducing foam? Is it just the high feed? It'll be the high feeding, increasing organics, oils, proteins, all the rest. The only real way of reducing it is to oxidize it. You can add more fresh water, bigger water changes, not what I'm a massive advocate of, unless you truly know how safe your water is. Potassium permanganate would be something that would work against it. Again, I don't recommend just randomly dosing that. It's just not something that bothers me that much, in all honesty. So I'm probably not the best person to ask in a sense, but you can reduce it. Just the ways of going about it, I wouldn't necessarily do. Or foam fractionation, actually, you can do it that way. Protein skimmers, things like that. If you want devices that can handle it, that would be my absolute go-to for dealing with it. And that is foam fractionation and those kind of systems. I do believe in. I think they're very useful. Can help. You can even do homemade versions of it through trickle towers by adapting the exit pipes as well. So that might be, it just come to me then, that might be a good solution for you on that one, Alan. Oh, same question again. Terence, evening all. Hi, Ricky. How damaging is the strong direct sunlight to our koi? Thinking color primarily. Very damaging is the answer. Very damaging. You'll see fish behavior change at times where they're trying to get away from it. But yeah, turbidity in the water is my favorite. It's just not your guys as hobbyists' favorite. And I get that. Absolutely get it. But it's not the best for the fish. And again, this is why you see when they've been in green water, it just makes sense. Not only there's other benefits to the green water, but the big one is when you think about it, it blocks out so much UV penetration into the water, and their skin comes out absolutely gleaming because it's not being battered by UV. And certain Benny types in Kohaku are certainly the really, really rich ones, can be quite damaged by it, and it can actually cause overstimulation in the cells and the development of the pigment, which can affect you long term as well. So there is a control and a balance in there with it. Evening, Dave. How long does it take to bring down nitrite in a new pond? Oh, David, how long is a piece of string? It's just one of those. It can be so persistent, then all of a sudden it just clicks. I suppose it depends how high it is, at what point in the cycle you are. You want to see some, if it's high, you want to see some progression of it coming down. But honestly, how long is a piece of string? Things that will help it, current water temperatures of the bean, if you're not heated, will help. The thing I generally do recommend is if it is being persistent, you might want to look at adapting your flows or something in there. But I'd expect to get stability if it's over the summer, kind of like a 6-month period. You'd like to think you've got decent stability, still not completely out of the woods. Complete proper maturity, I don't think comes in till about 18 to 24 months when you're really becoming a bit bomb-proof. You've made a few tweaks and your system's running fantastically well. Yes, absolute legend, Malk. Agreed, David. It'll be recorded. Don't worry. That's actually one bit regards the channel. Unfortunately, I've not managed. Aaron has actually left now. He had a wobble a while back. So Aaron, I love the kid. I've known him for a long time. We've had some big ups and downs, and he's ultimately a great lad. Although most of the time, I want to poke his eyes out. It's just, I don't know, the ability to be able to turn up consistently at 9:10 every morning, but not quite manage to make it for 9. Quite mind blowing. But anyway, he's an absolute petrol head. He's into it. He's got business aspirations, and I always knew I wouldn't keep him here forever. And he had a wobble a while back, and a company in that industry has come headhunting him. And yeah, that's that. So we're just trying to see what we can do in the meantime. And that actually brings me on to something here. Look, you got me started now, Susan. In the short term, hopefully he's going to continue editing the journal videos for me and see what we can do in and around what he's doing. But in and amongst the recruitment, we thought we'd filled the position for the fish house assistant. But unfortunately, complications with that candidate's employer has made that quite difficult moving into next year. So that might just be a new addition by then. So overall, and we're going to be actually, most of this will go to the job sites, but for you guys watching, we are going to be looking for a fish house assistant still. A marketing. We need to employ in the marketing department, and I'm in need of a videographer, all full-time positions. So if you are watching this and like the sound of any of those, feel free to reach out through whatever means possible. But that is 3 positions we need to get filled ASAP. So yes, contrary to popular belief, I actually pay incredibly well. Yes, so I mean, to be honest, it's one of the reasons I've managed to attract talent from other sectors, because the koi industry as a whole, the kind of max salaries within it, especially within aquatic shops and stuff like that, it don't pay amazingly well. So yeah, that's it. I've always made a point. I think I managed to breach through in how I've kind of built things to get to that point, and just understanding you need that quality of people, and hopefully that obviously is showing through. So if you're out there fancying a change or whatever it is, reach out. You might be pleasantly surprised with what's on offer, and trust me, in amongst it all as well, nothing beats doing what you love every day. Really doesn't. Do koi go off their food in extreme heat wave? Yes, Mickey, they absolutely can, mate. But not only that, just what I've said, you know, the intense sunlight, sometimes they just want to get out of it. And that's exactly what they will want to do. And then, yeah, normally as it kind of dies off in intensity, they'll come out a bit later on. Using Saki Koi bouncer colour make the pond cloudy. Since using it, mine has. Bill, that's not something I hear very often, mate. Is it just recently, as you've changed food or something like that? That can happen. Other than that, buddy, yeah. And again, guys watching this, you know, have you had some experience there? Is it something? The early period of transitioning onto a new food can be a bit rocky. But other than that, that's quite a rare one on me, mate. It is. Yes, Fry in the Mud Pond are doing very well from what I hear. Had trouble with bacteria infections last year. Lost my koi. Thought I got on top of it, but now it's all started again. Nightmare. Yes, it is. This is one of the tricky things. Lost most. The big thing with bacterial problems is when you think you've solved it, is the period there, and how you kind of, if you've added new things, the period after is knowing whether it's solved or not, introducing new fish, stressing the environment again, putting naive fish in, putting it to the test. There's a reason I talk about the complications and severity and how nasty these things are, because of those exact reasons, how long it can go on for, how tricky that they can be. I'm really sorry to hear you've been hit with that. but you really need to make sure active infection's gone. There's been a clear period. You've got the water, bacteria levels under control, and then you can stress it by naive fish being introduced and everything still being all right. Hi, Ricky. My son got me a lovely Easter show for Father's Day. Real deep Benny, ink black sumi. It jumped out of the pan. Oh, dear. On the patio for 50 minutes. Luckily in the shade. I brought it around and is now doing end of comment. Oh, there we go. Sorry to hear that, Ben, but I'm glad. Oh, that's it. There we go. Okay, it's 2 weeks in. Has almost lost all sumi and, as expected, has a thick slime coat. So it could necessarily not, the sumi can be stress related, falling off, but in a young fish it might also just be a normal part of the process, Ben, that the sumi, you get that young sumi come up as soon as you get the heat, the UV intensity that we've had hit it, it falls off, and then later in life, late Nisai, Sansai onwards, it's going to start to redevelop. So persevere with that one, pal, is what I would say. Evening, Ricky. Folks, caught up on the Sankey spawn in Japan over the last couple of days. Superb. Fantastic. Presuming you mean in Mishowa. But yes, it was incredible. Glad you've had a chance to watch through them. So that is scheduled around the 20th, 22nd of July, around that week. He said it can be earlier. If needs be, because they've been growing so well, but I don't think scheduling is going to allow for that one. Dealing with high nitrites after PP treatment, can't seem to get it down. Had to salt ponds to help. Yes, can happen depending on the system and depending how hard you went with it. I did with my dosing experiments, knock one out quite badly. Here, one of the Nexus actually as well, which tend to be a bit more resilient to it. And I had to cook the pond up, but that was a aggressive dose. But with the temperatures you've had, I'd expect now. I mean, how high are the nitrites as well? So it might just want a bit of seeding back up with some filter bacteria or something along them lines as well. I was told to feed as much as they can eat in 5 minutes. I spoke to you at an event, and I remember you saying you will leave the food a lot longer for big koi. I need much more body. What should I do? Yeah, 5 minutes is not a lot of time, because so my general Nisai grown to Sansai and older programs will be a 3-hour feed, because what I allow there is a 2-hour gap and an hour for eating, if you think about it. So say 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So they're in at 5. Obviously, food's in. They've got an hour to eat it, and then I've got a 2-hour rest period in between. That's generally how long I go on for. Obviously, the food's quality. The food won't break down in the water in that hour either. You've got to bear that in mind. And even if you're not using an hour, you could say half an hour, but 5 minutes is not a lot. Because what you have to watch for as well is the actual feed pattern of the fish. Some are just not, if they're not super confident on the surface as well, it's naturally going to take the fish a lot more time to clear up what you're putting in there. And that's because I witnessed that. That's why I changed some ponds over to sinking last year, because I was sick of trying to counteract that. I thought, right, just play them at their own game, feed them down there where they're happy. So yeah, no problems with that. Generally, the Tosai, I use 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what I know the system can handle. With some ponds right now, i.e. the Marado Karashi I'm growing, I'm struggling to get it to hit 5 minutes. So to expect to try and get it to 10, it's never going to happen. I'm quite happy, all things considered, trying to get it to 5, and I don't think I'll get there. They are absolute machines. Hey, when running a moving bed, how much media would you say is needed based on the amount, weight of fish? All you need to do with that is you can run the calculations, maybe think you considered stocking level, fish sizes. There's calculators there where you could get a weight and maybe guess. You've got to, your system is ultimately the amount of media, everything you've got should be governed and based on potential feeding levels. I don't really care about fish weight. Some will argue that plays a part in it. It's food. I can stock ponds here wall to wall with fish, feed bare minimum, and they're absolutely fantastic. What I can't do is the minute I introduce food, changes the game completely. It's the biggest part of it. So you could, if you're looking to decide on how much media, you could run based on the feeding levels. You could say, oh, look, potentially I would like to have 10 80 centimeter fish in there. There's online calculators where you could roughly calculate that weight, base it, go top end, base it on feeding 2% per day to those bigger fish, for example, and reverse engineer back from there to give you some kind of idea. And I don't keep up with what all the different media's loads are, what they advertise, but I think all that information is out there anyway. But to me, that's how everybody should design a system ultimately, is what feed capacity it's got and work within that. Stocking levels are also so heavily dictated by, I mean, oxygen is one of the biggest things because it's the biggest natural resource in the ponds that we have. And yeah, I mean, you get up to these high temperatures, then all of a sudden you see the difference in oxygen percentage that you can achieve in a pond when that stocking level is low versus high versus in between. It's massive differences from what I've seen. Ricky, 2 of my Beckos are pink as hell, and I've treated the pond as found costlier. 2 massive doses of PP, too big to share, but scrapes seem all clear. Yeah, well, again, Lee, it could depend on what dose of PP you've used, mate. This is all part of it. You know, you could have really pissed them off with it. And being the fish that they are, they naturally pink up a bit more anyway, mate. So it could be in that. Sounds like you might want to try some salt. We've got decent water temps at minute. Salt might be your one there just to help pull them back from where it's been. But if they weren't that pink before the PP, you might have found your answer as to why they're like that now. N&D showers are doing phenomenally well. They're all in a 3.5K pond now with the N&D Kohaku and a few other bits I've got, and yeah, hitting their stride. I've been big on food adjustments since I got back from Japan. It was needed, and you can really see now ponds where I'm getting close, because just so rapidly within kind of 48 hours you see a difference in the kind of volume that they're carrying as well. So yes, should be a very good result with those ones. Hi, Ricky. Battling a bacterial infection that is responding to antibiotics from the vet. What concentration of salt would you add to recommend support the fish? It wouldn't. I mean, if you're at the peak of it, you know, 0.5, 0.6% for a couple of weeks wouldn't hurt, and then bring that down to 0.3 and probably just leave that there as a background. Don't see any harm in doing that. Well, thank you. There we go. Look, Susan getting the high praise. 2 male Goshkis, 1 female Achiba. How does it spawn out? 90% all yellow koi. I've got absolutely no idea. I do think, I'm not going to say to you, in fact, I'm going to leave that one right there, because it's something I've seen that I'm hoping I might be onto before it gets big. So anyway, moving on. Evening all, Ricky. Have a great team with you. Even Collar stopped selling your koi. It's a good laugh. It is a good laugh. Ricky, the Marido crash go ahead of you is a monster. Does not stop eating. Yes, tell me about it. Has nearly caught with my Danichi Kohaku. It was 9 cm bigger in only 2 months. Yeah, savage. It is, until you've witnessed it firsthand, even unheated or heated pond, it doesn't matter. When you have koi that have the genetics to really race on and excel, and you put them alongside others that don't necessarily share them, and ones that truly have jumbo capability in the bloodline as well, it's crazy to watch it side by side and how effortless it is for them to grow. It really is. Brian, returning to the hobby after 20 years, that's amazing. Enjoying the videos, learning a lot, and looking forward to first new koi in 20 years soon. Fantastic. Love that. Thank you very much. Late to the show. Evening, buddy. What topical treatments other than Tamidin would you recommend? Curious more than anything. Yeah, so Tamidin's been the one for me when it's been called upon. To be honest with you, I don't like. I've seen it over the years as well. A company once made an ulcer spray that was fantastic. It made ulcers twice as big because of how aggressive it was, damaging the slime coat. You've got to remember how important and delicate that slime coat can be at times. And I just see you think about putting shit directly onto it and what it can do. So yeah, Tamidin, I have got a treatment that I got from somebody that can be no more when it runs out. That has also been phenomenal. And I know two of the ingredients because I know what one looks like and I know what one smells like. I don't know any ratios or anything with it. But other than that, Tamidin is the one. Evening, Ricky. Do you recommend any instruments to measure water parameters in our ponds? Foggy, I recommend a standard test kit. That's where I'm at with that. You guys, and I get it. The tinkering, the thing, all the rest of it. If that's what you want, great. My big thing here and a big part of the tie it into the keep it simple philosophy is that I believe nowadays, not just with koi, with so many things, we have too much information, and that influx of information that you don't necessarily tend to, it steers you away from ultimately in a koi sense of just looking at the koi going with experience, I might add, going, well, everything's fine there. Fantastic. You know, you might do a test, and certainly when you do a test with a photometer and you all of a sudden get 0.01 or 0.03 of ammonia, and it's like, oh shit, and then you react to it and go and do something, it's a nothingness. It wouldn't show up on a standard liquid test kit. So that's me, buddy. I would be spending money in other areas elsewhere. Your standard test, and you'll find that as you become more experienced, you drop that. The primary test kit I use here is KH. That does come with a whole load of experience attached to it, but KH is the primary one that we're on and manage a hell of a lot. Ricky, sooner or later, the koi we get from you are going to win the BKK show, Great British Show. Would you shout out from the rooftops, or would you want to keep it quiet? Lee, with my whole feelings around that, mate, it would be amazing for the person winning it. It would mean a great deal to them. I'm going to be the whole koi show thing, right? Let me, and I realized this last year, and this is just I don't know if it's a personality thing or what it is. So for me, it's last year with a client at the All International Junior Koi Show. A fish I had selected from an auction was, and it won a Sakura prize at the All Japan or the Wakagoi. I can't remember. I think it might have been the Wakagoi, and went on to win Young Champion at the International Junior Koi Show, the third biggest koi show in Japan, incredibly high level, and technically the fourth highest award in the koi show. It was one of the majors. Can I be honest? I felt nothing. I felt absolutely nothing from it at all. Just didn't care. That's where that one. It was kind of like, and I understand why. I generally am somebody who likes to do everything the hard way, and you look at everybody who should take credit in that process, and I wasn't. Yes, I selected it. The only bit I can take from it was I believe the fish was massively overlooked in the auction, given what price like other Ginrin Kohaku were going for. I think that was a nice touch to it in that thing. When I, just on a side note, when I show, to me, the Japan scene is the only thing I look at because that's the highest level to compete at. This is just for me and that sense of kind of satisfaction from it, because I think that's really ultimately what we're talking about here. But in that scenario, yes, I found it. Was it overlooked? Yes, I believe it was. That's about as much as I paid my money for it at that point. But even in the auction it was in, somebody had already selected it and kind of thinned it out. And even other awards gone by, you know, it's been great because it kind of, you think, right, okay, I'm getting my eye in here because I'm winning awards. But the real vision, the bit that I'm seeing. Oh, freezing. There we go. That was weird. The bit that I'm really seeing is now I think for that to really hit home, it'd want to be a fish that I've raised myself, or even more so one that I bred myself, then raised, then won. Then I think the satisfaction will come, and I would shout from the rooftops for that. Other than that, I just kind of see that, yeah, the raising part, I think it got to have played some part in it. Regards to it winning on that, I don't think, just generally with my feelings towards the show scene in England, it probably wouldn't feel like much of anything, given the fact that award that I won last year with the fish supplied, I've just had that reaction from it. I think you can pretty much gauge it, but to be competing at that level, and it kind of got muttered by the guys at NND this year about the Tiger Koi show, which is the one they have for baby koi. The breeders love it because they're competing against each other with that early crop, and I can see that because I am a competitive person, but I like to know that I've earned it as well, and I've put in the hard yards. It's how I am. So I think until we get to that point, or when we get to that point, let's say, is when that might become different. Is that the wife or the daughter? Not sure, but it's cute. How prevalent are problems with fluke, etc., in the mud ponds? They're not really. I mean, we're talking vast amounts of water, low pathogen pressure, very, very low stress because of the quality of water. Physical parasites more so, and if they put fish in sick, can be a problem. They go to every effort not to do that by kind of pre-quarantining them into the pond. But yeah, generally it's just such a great environment for them. It's not too bad. I've seen it in a couple of ponds years back, and if needs be, they can administer Mazaten into there to try and counteract against it. But the big thing in there is physical parasites more than anything. Anchorworm, fish lice. When they harvest, they have to pay attention for it, but it's a natural part of it all. Even still, the stress that any of that stuff causes is heavily reduced because of the low stress environment, that lack of pathogen pressure in the water and the quality of the water. Evening, Ricky. Just like to express my appreciation for your, Susan, and Colin's efforts in swapping over to a Kiyosaki. Both Kiyosaki and Korn are doing well in quarantine and have put on. Anyway, we've been cut off there, but fantastic. I am super happy to hear that as well. Oh, that's it. So I'm just catching up where we're at in the thread there. That's obviously when I've been speaking about the job. There we go. Cool. Just bear with me 1 minute, guys. This is my mother offering me food. She's clearly doesn't know I'm on a live stream. Quality. There we go. That should stop that. Right, let's see where we're at. Evening, folks. What are your thoughts on Benny lost Ricky? My Dainichi Karaku has lost Benny. Did we have this question last week? Has lost Benny in one area this summer. Other Karaku from different breeds looking great. This, I'm sure we did this last week. That can be koi. That can be Karaku. There's absolutely no certainty. Just because it's come from Dainichi as well, that is no more of a guarantee than it coming from anybody. So it all comes down to the individual fish, that color quality, individual circumstances. You know, I've had fish that have looked the most promising over the years. You get problems with it, environmental things. They can physically scuff it, damage it, loads and loads and loads of bits. But the biggest thing you have to remember, guys, is there's no guarantees with this stuff. Experience reduces failure rate. Completely agree with that, but stuff still catches you out all the time. What would you do if you got a beautiful fish with a perfect skin, but they won't grow? I'd keep it and enjoy it. Is exactly. I mean, yeah. If your only thing is wanting to grow it, then you might want to move it on. But if it's beautiful fish and perfect skin, I would say enjoy it. If you've got another pond, build a collection of smaller, more perfect, beautiful skin fish. Is what I would actually do. So and enjoy it all, 100%. Meant to add its Sansai, yeah, again means nothing to it. It can happen, and there might have been early signs on it, depending on your experience and what you can see. There's likely could have even been something in there that toe soil on this site to indicate potential risks in that. That's where I speak of the experience coming in. Notice a crack in my pond window and probably need to change it. Any advice on a temporary pond, plastic? How long can I keep fishing temperature? I think people generally use big paddling pools from what I can gather. So yeah, and get decent filtration on it, and then it doesn't necessarily matter. It's, if it's filtered well and it's a decent amount of water, game on, Foggy. Pleasure. Ian Ricky, how accurate is using salt to get your pond gallonage? Apparently very accurate. There's a method out there of using salinity for it. I can't remember the bits exactly. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Unless you're comparing it against a water meter. I've only ever used it a couple of times, and I mean, it was way more accurate than the calculation based on the dimensions. That is for sure. Given that it was an irregular shaped pond as well, I'd trust it a lot more than trying to calculate it any other way. Hi, Ricky, how do you keep food in the pond with the system running for a longer period? Bottom drain was sinking food. Yes, it's very difficult. Hence why I've spoken my concerns with sinking food before. I am using it a bit more now, but we're here constantly observing. So we can see a lot more that's going on. You're not necessarily there as much as we would be. So it's a bit trickier. Breeders in Japan who use this heavily in concrete ponds. I know at Momotaro, they actually adapt the ponds so there's feeding areas in there to actually properly observe and monitor it. That's how serious a thing that is. So in the ponds we have, it is quite difficult. Pleasure. Doing very well, Ray, as are some of the others that weren't picked as well. And obviously a few that are stashed up along with them. So you'll get to see them at some point. You absolutely will. Here in the US, our local koi tend to be a lot smaller than Japanese koi. Is the same in the UK as well? If so, how common is it for them to grow over 30 inches? Oh, I'm presuming by local koi you mean American bred. Matt, it's all going to depend on bloodlines, buddy. Bloodlines, the way they're raised in them early years will then play its part. The specific parent koi it comes from, all the limiting genetic factors play their role. So that's what it's all going to boil down to ultimately. Oh shit! Good point. That is fantastic. Forgot all about that stuff. Just because the need for using topical treatments is pretty much non-existent around here, especially something as severe as that. But for severe wounds, yes, many years ago during shop days and all the rest of it, that stuff fantastic. Use that in a lot of client cases. Very, very good product, that ozone gel. Oh no, not like a green balm. I've read that wrong. But anyway, it is koi. Is it koi clear gel? It's called, I think, the ozone-based one. Very, very impressive stuff for treating for me, the more severe kind of bacterial wounds. Let's have a look. 100% on the showing. I enjoy showing, but I used to do it with birds and sheep. It's not the same unless you bred it. Yeah, I can see that. Hard way, why not? No ramen, mate. I wish. Type of koi that's coming more into fashion. Ooh, that's interesting. I would say at the moment, I think we've come a bit more full circle back to Gosanki as it stands. There was a time where Aragoki is still very popular as well, by the way, all the different versions of those. But yeah, Gosanki seems to be strong at the minute. I would say there's good call, good demand for it. I can't, and I would say possibly more breeders. I think as people are understanding more that it's not just Kohaku. There's Kohaku from Hoshikin. There's Kohaku from Dainichi, Sakai. I think maybe as that understanding of the depth of it all and how different they all actually are is growing, you see that there's much more of a bigger world to it rather than just it's Kohaku, Sankey, and Showa, which possibly might play its part. But looking from the breeding sense, it's a core there. There's a lot of focus. Even some breeders who have dabbled, messing around with all the stuff. In Japan, Ginrin Kohaku is a very prevalent one at the moment. Everybody who is a Kohaku breeder is now making a Ginrin variation of it. I don't think that's trickled through into the UK the same way. So yeah. Interesting, but I think that's as I think about it, seems to be a bit of a trend and where that one's heading. I know a few people working harder at Showa as well at the minute, which is all good. I think most of us tend to love a good Showa. Yeah, because I can just pull NND Tancho Showa out my arse on demand. Thank you for the Wednesday night chat before you send this off. Not suddenly, mate. Jesus, I've been here nearly for an hour. No suddenly about it. Yes, powdered fry food is available to hobbyists. There's brands in the UK that make it. Coppens manufacture a lot of that stuff. I know there's others as well, and all around the world. I should imagine. Sinking didn't last long enough. Fair play. Oh, I heard Momotaro Kohaku react differently to salt treatment. The Benny tend to drop when they're quarantining with salt. Is this the same for you? No, I've not experienced that whatsoever. Sounds like a bit of an old wives' tale, that one. Ricky, first time buying from you, but this is more of a thanks than a question. Picked up my NND shirt. Oh, yes, the Sakamaki show. Wow, absolutely made up. They're even more stunning in person. That is what we like to hear, and that is what we aim for because, again, most of what we're doing is online. So we really understand, accuracy and importance. I try and replicate the colors as much as possible. But my expectation is they should always look better in the flesh because then at that point, I hear it too many times actually of people being disappointed having bought off of a fucking enhanced picture that drives me mad, by the way, because I can see it all as well. I've had to learn to see through it through buying online myself, and you can. And it's frustrating because it's just wrong. And especially when I work so hard to naturally get those colors up to the levels that pop anyway. And there's people just trying to fake it by tarting a picture up. But I'm very, very glad that is your impression, Chris, because like I say, we do aim to really please with that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, beyond me, that one. There was one back in day. I can't remember. I remember using it with my dad when I first got into it called, oh, God, Miracle Cure. It was in a little dropper bottle. And that stuff was insane. I can't remember whatever happened to it. Yes. What are the chances that any of the breeders are still producing Quebeco or Akabeko, or are they just... I don't think anybody's that I know of actively really producing it, but, Sankey breeders can get them. Yugenji's probably had more crop up than anybody on the Akabeko bit. And I think I've seen Otsuka playing as he likes to. He's a bit of a clever guy, Otsuka, with that stuff. But let's see. Who knows? Just take the Goshiki Sankey, for example. They were a bit of a unicorn until Kibi decided he was going to try and stabilize it and did a cracking job. Them things I've got here from him are nuts. And always get a big load of respect from me when they manage to produce these unicorn varieties, but do it with real pedigree behind them. They get the body, they get the growth, and they've got the variety as well, because that's so hard to do. And it's a big, important thing in doing that successfully in Japan. I said it time and time again, golden corn wouldn't be what they are to me if they didn't have the genetics, growth potential, and body that they have. What he's done with that is great. So I think there's issues there in bits like that, but let's see. It only takes one of them, and this is what is behind a lot of it as well. If they can't see the commercial value in doing it, and that's not the way many of them are wired, it's got to get their juices flowing to even be bothered. And if it doesn't do that, it's never going to happen. That's pretty much the koi industry in Japan summed up. I've got kohaku in my pond and the Benny isn't sharp as when it was. I got them not feeding sake. Would that be the difference? Yeah, diet can make a big difference. It could be light exposure if there's not enough of it, you know, or they're being kept in the dark. Really, really important. But yeah, diet, you know, if the diet hasn't got the ingredients in it to maintain and support the color, then ultimately you will see a drop off in it. No, Jack, we don't ship to the US as it stands. Project Japan is what we are hoping will be the route through to global distribution. So there's just a lot of things got to happen there with all that yet. Yeah, I think I do quite a good job actually of it's not all there, but actually toning it all down a little bit. Crazy. Christ, I've just reached the bottom. There we go. Josh, if I was to switch off my air to the bottom drain and add an air bar to one end of the pond, should I do anything to stop stagnant water in the airline? Yeah, I mean, you might just want to get a bit of a purge, or you can run it off or something like that, Josh, to be honest with you. I want one of your heel sores. Maybe one day, Jack. Maybe one day, mate. We're, yeah, plenty of plans, but it takes time to execute and go through. So, wow, check it out. What we've done, just about hit the hour mark, and I've cleared the deck. That's happy days. So, yes, bear with me on the live stuff and be on standby. Whenever I've got one, or get it dropped in the Koi Online WhatsApp group. So feel free to get in there. There is no link in this description because there's nothing in the description. So we might have put it in by default, actually. Anyway, have a look. If not, it's on one of the old videos. You can get joined up. And obviously, if you're on YouTube anyway, if you subscribe and you hit that notification button, I know you'll get a ping the minute the live stream starts as well, which will be very useful for you. So I'm going to have a go and have a quick check round the fish before I go. And no doubt I'll be up here early doors again. And other than that, I will catch you again soon. Not sure when, but soon. Who knows? Who knows? And hopefully get a bit more, you know, as some of the streams I want to try and make a bit more topical. I'm kind of thinking now the connection's here. If there's something on my mind, let's fire it up and have a natter, because obviously they sit on the channel afterwards. Anyway, fantastic. Thanks for your time, guys, and I'll see you all again soon.